gonna sing Lift Every Voice and Sing first.
Thank you, everyone. It's an honor to be here tonight. Thank y'all for having me here. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let a rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
Alright, thank y'all. Before I do every lecture, I'm going to open up with that theme song, the Black National Anthem. Pretty much, part of what we trying to do is recreate culture. And that's a song that everybody should know. And I remember we used to sing it back in the day, but I don't really hear people singing it too much now. But anyway, moving on. So I'm the CEO, founder of the Academy of Self-Development. And the title of this lecture is An Institute for Our Future. And so what we're going to be talking about tonight is pretty much what the Academy of Self-Development is, the reasons for it. This is a lecture about solutions. This is not one of those lectures where somebody is just talking about the problems, blaming people. We moving past that stage now. So tonight we're going to be talking about a solution. So after this point, wherever you may view this at, you can't sit back and say, well, what's the solution? What we going to do? When God going to help us? Because now people is rising up with solutions now. So our mission, like I said earlier, is to recreate. We know what's wrong with us. We know that we got issues. So we don't need nobody else to validate or invalidate the solution or what's wrong with us. We know what's wrong with it. W.E.B. Du Bois said, for this task, we have to create a new family group, a cultural group that goes beyond biological connections, where we look out for each other not just because we're blood relatives, but because of the struggle and the situation that we find ourselves in today.
Yeah, it's like I'm living in a dream. Yeah, I'm living in a dream. Yeah, I'm living in a dream. Yeah, I'm living in a dream. It's like I'm living in a dream. Yeah, I'm living in a dream. Yeah, I'm living in a dream. Yeah, I'm living in a dream.
Right off the Barnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You wonder we got it, mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build, the energy is positive. Every member of the team is awake and conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding a bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel.
How y'all doing? My name is Kareem Brown. We about to have a lecture about what the Academy of Self-Development is. But before we start, an up-and-coming artist out of Philly named Olive is going to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing for us. Please give a round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. It's an honor to be here tonight. Thank y'all for having me here. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the hope that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let it resound. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Before I do every lecture, I'm going to open up with that theme song, the Black National Anthem. Pretty much, part of what we're trying to do is recreate culture, and that's a song that everybody should know. And I remember we used to sing it back in the day, but I don't really hear people singing it too much now. But anyway, moving on. So I'm the CEO, founder of the Academy of Self-Development. And the title of this lecture is An Institute for Our Future. And so what we're going to be talking about tonight is pretty much what the Academy of Self-Development is, the reasons for it. This is a lecture about solutions. This is not one of those lectures where somebody is just talking about the problems, blaming people. We moving past that stage now. So tonight we're going to be talking about a solution. So after this point, and wherever you may view this at, you can't sit back and say, well, what's the solution? What we gonna do? When God gonna help us? Because now people is rising up with solutions now. So our mission, like I said earlier, is to recreate culture, to recreate the culture that exists in Black America. Save the lives of Black boys, which will ultimately save the Black community and will benefit humanity in general. Correct the ongoing trauma that has been passed down from the transatlantic slave trade. To stand, fight, create, and hold the line. And one important thing, to correct the trauma that has happened during the transatlantic slave trade. The whole post-traumatic slave syndrome is something that we still suffer from deeply. And we need to heal ourselves as a community. No longer do we need to go to other people to tell us that we sick or we not sick or whatever. We know what's wrong with us. We know that we got issues. So we don't need nobody else to validate or invalidate the solution or what's wrong with us. We know what's wrong with us. So I'm going to start off quoting a few scholars to lay the foundation for why we have to do what we have to do. W.E.B. Du Bois said, for this task, we have to create a new family group, a cultural group that goes beyond biological connections. So we have to create a family structure like we had in the beginning, a more communal system where we look out for each other, not just because we're blood relatives, but because of the struggle and the situation that we find ourselves in today. And some of the things he said about what this organization should be about, it says Negroes must not give a tenth, but a quarter of their income to support education and social organizations. And teachers must sacrifice to the last penny. So pretty much we at a point now in our history where we had to sacrifice to come about this problem. People gotta spend their money. You gotta spend whatever it is you love, whatever talents you have, and we gonna correct the problems and the issues that we suffer from, people got to sacrifice. He also said, what then can we do or should we do? The child in the family and specific organization must learn what he will not learn in school. Now, we already see the condition of the schools. We see them slowly shutting down. Pretty soon, the next thing is going to be the hours is going to be cut back. Mark my words. Soon, school, the hours going to be cut back. They're already starting underfunded. I was reading some of the statistics today, and it's like for every 600 students, it's like one school nurse. Right. And you gotta have, I think you gotta have over 850 to have a vice principal or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's true.
But so they cutting down the schools, but still funding the prisons. Now, you can't sit around and still just wait around for somebody else to still do something for you, what you can do for yourself. So it's a popular song out called We Started From the Bottom, Now We Here. Now, when I hear that song, I think about we started from the bottom in this country, the damn bottom of slave ships. But now we here. But what is here? Where is here? Here is this, where you got a little boy with his chest tatted up, only God can judge me. Growing up and forming into this right here. We started from the bottom, now we here. With a girl that got child support stamped across her ass. So she pretty much letting you know from the door, if you hit this, it's child support right here. You know what I mean? Go to the next slide. Stop staring, bitches. That's what she got tattooed across her titties. And I'm a little graphic for some people, I'm sorry, but this is the times. This is the times we in. It's rough. Yeah. Look at this right here. Why there's no men in the community? And why they keep continuously pushing this on us? And who gonna stand up for the women and the children in the community? They ain't. But that's what a lot of these sisters is being left with.
Who's that?
What's that? That's men right there, brother. That's a group of men right there. You want them backing you up? So the attack, if they can't make you gay, they gonna make you pay. Right? Now I'm gonna quote a couple scriptures real quick. This is out of Exodus chapter 1, verse 22. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Every Hebrew boy that is born you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. And it's a similar verse in the Holy Quran that says, we will ruthlessly slay their sons and spare their women. So these was prophecies that was relating to the condition of God's people in the latter days. You know, you got to ask yourself, why would it say slay the men or kill the boys and spare the women? We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Now, I use this for example of when I said they can't make you gay, they're going to make you pay. Because that's an agenda that they pushing right now. Now, Donnie McClurkin, he's an ex-gay pastor. Now, this 50-year March on Washington that just took place, he was supposed to participate in the March on Washington. But they cut him out the event because he said that God had cured him of his homosexuality and he wasn't gay anymore. He didn't talk bad about homosexuals, nothing like that. He just said that he was cured from being a homosexual. And they cut his ass right out of there. Oh, you can't talk. You can't talk at the Martin Luther King Day march no more because you're speaking against our agenda. You're speaking against our agenda. So now he's supposed to be a religious leader, a figure among our people. But see, our leaders is handpicked. So when they go against something that their handlers say that we're not with that, and they gonna cut you right out. Look at this right here. Prison, gay, and dead. What they got in common, they all neutralized. All neutralized. One way or the other. If they can get you in one of these categories, you are neutralized. You neutralized from who? From your woman, from your children. So now when you grow up in communities where there's no men, naturally it's going to take a shift. It's going to take a shift. It's going to be imbalanced. Just as is you grew up in a community where there's no women, it would be imbalanced because men and women create balance. So when you take one away, then you're going to create an imbalance, a natural imbalance. That's why we see young men running wild, undisciplined, unstructured, don't have no idea about what they gonna be, what they gonna do. I remember growing up, and I know I wasn't a bad kid, but because I grew up without guidance, not raised by no men, no father, I pretty much grew up without an identity. I didn't know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. I just went to school because they said I was supposed to go. But I had no idea about what I really was going to do or what I wanted to do. So I just went through, like a lot of young men, you just pass the time away. You just pass the time away. Try to sleep with as many women as you can. Because remember, they tell us that's what masculinity means. Masculinity means sleep with as many women you can find and walk around like you a fake thug. That's what they teach us. So two sides equal a coin. If one side is destroyed, they both are destroyed. Male and female is the basis or starting point for a family. To slay the man is to kill the woman. And I want to say that message to our sisters, because they think, oh, I got my degree, I got a job, why you can't do it? It was already written that they was going to try to slay the man and spare the woman. That's to make the community imbalance. But you don't know, in the whole process, they destroying you at the same time. You ain't going nowhere without the black man. And the black man ain't going nowhere without the black woman. Because that's how people create themselves. That's how people recreate themselves. If you destroy one, it's going to handicap them. So it was written, but why? I'm not going to read all these, but I put these different translations up there just to show that, without a doubt, somebody was talking about us a long time ago. Somebody seen all this stuff coming down the pipeline. So the solutions was always with us. We just was following leaders to some extent, because it was some good leaders that was leading us the wrong way. And so it says, then the Lord said to him, know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. Now we all know what people that's referring to.
Brother Harry.
Who else?
I'm sorry.
Who else fits these prophecies? Who else fits these prophecies, to be transported from one area of the world to the other area of the world as cargo?
Us.
All right, so how did we get here? How did we get here?
Not by choice.
So what is the real relevance of chattel slavery? What was it? We always hear it talked about, oh, slavery, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Like it was just this old ancient system that has no relevance on us today. So what's the real relevance of the whole system of chattel slavery right now?
Money.
So Lerone Bennett Jr., hold it, brother. You have a question to answer. The institution of slavery in America was a total system of social, economic, political, and sexual exploitation based on force and violence and an ideology of racism. In that uncompromising setting, the slave, tempered and toughened by the annihilating heat and adversity, remade himself as he remade America, creating a new synthesis in part European, in part African, and in part X. Meaning that The transatlantic slave trade created a new people. A new people was created with a new set of problems and issues that would arise in the future.
Can I say something? It was
You gotta hold it
profit.
to the, you gotta hold it to the, you gotta hold it to the end, brother.
Okay.
So, the formation of this institution, like all other institutions, wants to create ideologies and structures to hold the mind, heart, and body of its participants. The seeds of this system were planted deep, and its fruits are still fresh and blossoming to this day. So, what were the results of the transatlantic slave trade? What was the fruit that it produced? This is what it produced. Straight dysfunction.
Yes.
Straight dysfunction. Uncivilized behavior. And we descended from the original people, the creators of culture and civilization. And this brother right here got a Gucci bag tattooed on his face. The original man.
I never knew that. I never knew that one.
Walking around with a damn Gucci bag tattooed on his
I
face.
never knew that one.
A little boy with a blunt in his mouth.
Damn.
And you see that.
I never knew that one.
So 2 important points. Slavery was characterized by systematic brainwashing. Slaves were taught to hate themselves and to stand in fear of every white man. The Americas of the South of the Union have discovered, this is a quote, a more intellectual way to sustain their power. They pretty much learned that it's better to control them through the mind than to use force. Because once we do it that way, we can hold on to them longer, we can control them better than just using force on them. Military discipline prevailed on most plantations, which had a chain of command ranging downwards from plantation owner to white overseer to the black driver. Why is this important? You ever get hired, you get hired at a job, and they hire that black supervisor. And you know he the hardest damn person to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Always on your back,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much reporting back, trying to control every move you make, everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much he feel like he's the driver on that plantation. Or you run into those, or the black cop. Why he harder sometimes than the white cop. See, it's this whole
Pretty much.
institutionalized system, this structure of slavery. So, because of that,
Yeah.
we still got that same plantation action going on. So what is it to be institutionalized? Because we got to understand what chattel slavery did was create an institutionalized mind, institutionalize the mind of a people. So the definitions of being institutionalized is what a military service person has become when they are re-enlisted so many times they have not spent so many years in that service. They no longer feel they will be safe or can make life outside the military. And also, what a convicted criminal becomes when they spend so many years behind bars away from life outside the prison walls. So, when we say that slavery institutionalized us, it took us away from the natural ways and things that we used to do and ways that we went about living. Like for instance, you know, Philadelphia is a diverse city. If you ever go into like either the Cambodian neighborhoods or some of the neighborhoods with Caribbean people, and you will see that they still grow food naturally. Like they still have small plots and backyards and other little areas where they grow food at. Now that's something that all original people used to do, but that's a science that we don't do anymore, right? There's a lot of things that we have lost the knowledge of because we have been institutionalized. And we pretty much operating in a mold that our handlers wanted us to operate in. So, what about us, the Academy of Self-Development? This is our logo right here. And it's pretty much as a man coming up out the projects with the world on his shoulders. This is our organizational structure. Pretty much we trying to form a council of elders, of compromise of people 40 years and older. We're looking for elders that's willing to provide their skills, their money, their time, whatever it is they know how to do to help to sit over as a council on this organization to help us build and grow the organization. Like for instance, you know how like if somebody make a song that we don't like, disrespecting our people, like not too long ago, it was Lil Wayne, he said the line about Emmett Till. I don't know if anybody heard it or not, but he just said something. Right, okay. So he said what he said about Emmett Till. We should have a council of elders who could have made a phone call, who could have made a phone call and said, yo, that record need to be removed.
Pretty much.
Just like that.
Pretty much.
That record need to be removed without no rap, and it just get done because they know if it don't get done, it's gonna be a situation. We should have a council that can do that. So, we looking for people that's good in accounting or public relations, receptionist and travel department, security, janitorial, athletic, and the education department. This is pretty much the foundation for the structure of what we're trying to do. Our objectives is to connect young men with older men and collectively build businesses. Serve as a modern day rites of passage. That's another thing that we used to do that we lost knowledge of. Young men come of age without any knowledge whatsoever of what it is to be a man. The images that we see is the people on TV, rappers, whatsoever. And you know, you got young men just trying to imitate what they see on TV. Explore the scholar's natural talents and help them perfect them. Peer-to-peer counseling and development to connect history with current events. We will hold 2 trips every month, one in the city, one outside the city. One overnight the last Friday of every month. Travel outside the country once a year. Establish at least one business a year with the scholars. So if you bring your children to me, and we are not establishing businesses, take them back. Because we bullshit. This is not one of those type of organizations or places where we just gonna be about talking and nothing never happens. And we not building the businesses and people not making money and we not changing things, then we not doing it. We not doing right. Effectively eliminate the slave mentality and establish a safe zone. Somewhere in the city where it's drug free. Somewhere where it's clean. Where people don't litter. Where you can get healthy foods from. A safe place. A place where you can go in the city and it can represent a model of what it is we need to become. So Dr. Amos Wilson, he represents the philosophical structure of our organization. And he says the ultimate function of education is to secure the survival of a people. Why would it be about anything else? Why would you get educated and die? Are you going to be the smartest dead person? What kind of sense do that mean? So the education got to be about securing the survival of a people. So what has our degrees produced? Because we got a lot of them. Right? Knowledge must be wielded to a sense of purpose, peoplehood, and destiny. Then it becomes protective of your survival as a people. It is measured by how it protects your survival as a people and nationhood. So if you got all these degrees, but you in the worst condition than you ever been, you're not being educated properly. Or the education is not working for you. How can you be so educated with so many degrees and so many damn problems? That don't make no sense. If you want to develop an African-centered curriculum, start by asking what problems must we solve as an African people, or whatever you want to call yourself. Our problems include the problem of being dominated, not controlling our nations, being poor in the midst of affluence. What goals do we want to reach? What quality of life do we want to enjoy? How many times have you ever been in the classroom and the teacher start asking you questions like this? They don't
No, they
educate
don't.
you like
They
this.
don't. They don't. They
They
don't.
don't educate you like
They
this
don't.
because they not teaching you for your own survival. They
No,
teaching
no,
you to maintain white supremacy.
Yeah, you're pretty much. Pretty much.
So what institutions must we develop so that we can act in the terms of our interests? Unless education, politics, and economics are designed to solve our problems as a people, they are pointless. All this so-called knowledge and double masters and all this stuff, but you got all these damn problems. It can't solve none of your own problems.
Because the country was run by a white man.
So the laws of motion, right? The laws of motion. So the laws of motion state an object that is at rest will stay at rest unless an external force acts upon it. And the object that is in motion will not change its velocity unless an external force acts upon it. So that means something at rest is going to stay still unless something from the outside moves it. Or something in a certain motion will stay in that motion. And why is that important? What is the motion that our people is headed in? What's the motion we headed in?
A mess.
This slide right here will show you, and this is becoming more and more common. It's becoming more and more common, these self-destructive behaviors. So we can see clearly what motion we headed in. We headed down. We headed into a down spiral. And unless something or someone changes this motion, it's going to continue to go that way. So who or what will stop the down spiral in motion black people are headed in? Because we got churches, mosques, synagogues on almost every corner. So why is the motion still going down?
They're not doing nothing.
And we are currently in a death-like state. What will bring life back into us?
People like yourself.
How long will we stand around and watch our children die? Just think about this. It's over 1 million and some odd black people in prison on parole. Okay. You go to a prison. The prison is full of other black men.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all get in there, you sitting around each other, and you come out with no solution still? What the hell is you talking about in there or whatever? You under siege. You getting murdered on the streets and we happy and shit? How can you be happy when every other day we hear about somebody getting killed? We don't even care no more. Are you serious? How is we a people? How can we stand up? Damn, what you call him just got shot and killed. All right, man, what you about to do? We not surviving. We not surviving. We dying off. And how is it that you lived during the time when they write history? Who was alive during the time when this happened? This massacre, blah, blah, blah. Did anybody stand up? Did anybody try to stop it? Did anybody try to change the situation? Like, what side of history is you gonna be on?
You're talking about poverty.
So, let's talk a little history and stuff.
Okay.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, of all our studies, history is the most attractive and best qualified to reward our research, as it develops the springs and motives of human actions and displays the consequences of circumstances, which operates most powerfully on the destinies of human beings. Meaning that history will reward your research because based upon history, we can see the development of things that's going to happen in the future.
Right.
So a short narrative of race relations in America, right? On July 30th, 1866, unarmed, hold it for a second.
Brief intermission.
I love this. I'm gonna use the bathroom. Be right back. I love this.
Go ahead, you go right ahead.
Moist your mouth.
She had some of the same slides.
to the same joint.
You and yeah?
The same place.
Y'all need to link up and do a combined joint, man. Thanks to Olive for seeing. It's all nothing. Son, you was there last time. Yeah, I'm designing the cover right now. I'm trying the whole DVD with the lecture, the camera.
I just wanted to say that in reference to the brainwashing that you spoke of earlier.
Just hold your question so we get it.
Okay.
So we get it.
Professor Griff, did he ever come last week? He was supposed to be here. No, that never happened. Some technical.
Quiet. Quiet. Quiet.
He's still working on it though.
Come on, quiet. Yeah, he just went back here.
Okay.
Yeah, was you still running? So anyway, all right, on July 8th, 30th, 1866, unarmed African Americans were attacked and murdered, and many law enforcement officials perpetrated the crimes. This took place at a Louisiana Constitutional Convention. Former Confederates, aided by the New Orleans police, fearful that the state would fall out of Southern white control, attacked the gathering. Both the black and the delegates were targets and were shot even after raising the white flags of surrender. So why do I bring this up? This was pretty much a time during Reconstruction when they had Northern troops in the South to protect the interests of the blacks that was just freed. And pretty much this was a time when you had so many different blacks in political
They was
positions.
free back then?
Right? So
Okay.
the blacks were pretty much in political power at this point in time. Right? Something similar like today. You got all these black mayors and all these different
Yeah,
type
it
of
was a
stuff.
couple senators back then.
Yo, good brother. Just hold your comments in
Okay,
there, okay?
okay. No, I'm smart. I'm very intelligent.
Okay.
Okay.
Just let us know at the end, all right? All right. So, the whites were enraged that the newly freed blacks was getting all these rights and these different things. They was getting these political offices. So they pretty much slaughtered them. It was a slaughter. They were trying to handle everything the right way. They went about it. They protested peacefully, right? But these whites that was mad and officers shot down these people. Okay. Cyrus Hamill, son of former vice president, wrote, "The wholesale slaughter and the little regard paid to human life I witnessed here was worse than what we had seen in battle." So he's seen the way that they slaughtered them. They ain't even get this vicious when we was fighting the war.
Mm. That's sad.
Now, wait, go back. Local police, rather than assisting those under attack, participated in it. Federal troops had been called for assistance, but by the time they arrived, it was too late to prevent the violence. 100 persons were injured in the fighting, and 34 blacks and 3 whites were killed. After Republicans gained control of the Congress that fall, they quickly put Reconstruction policies into effect. So, the result was that they passed more laws. They passed some laws. Okay, it's sorry that all y'all got killed and murdered, whatever. We gonna pass some laws. And the result, happy Negroes.
1836.
Happy Negroes. Oh, they passed a law for us. Okay, yeah. Then what happened? The Great Compromise or the Great Betrayal. It's 1877.
I got a book.
After the Civil War, troops were installed in most southern states to protect the newly freed black people, like we just said. This prevented whites from slaughtering the newly freed men and women, or from re-enslaving them. The compromise said, then, okay, remember, they had just passed the laws. They passed the laws to protect the blacks and their interests, right?
Okay.
Then, just 10 years later,
Yeah. Okay.
they compromised the rights
Okay.
and laws that they had just given
Wow. Okay.
them. And in this compromise, they withdrew federal soldiers from the South. They passed legislation to industrialize the South. they agreed to appoint Democrats to key positions in the South and appoint a Democrat to the president's cabinet. So right after just giving you some laws to secure your safety, they just gave them right back away, just like that. So, I ain't gonna read all of it. I'm just gonna summarize this passage. But this passage just pretty much explains that we was never a lazy people. After we was free, we begin to build townships. We begin to settle and build business and build farmlands and build industry. We begin to do this.
You're right. I'm sorry.
You gotta chill, beloved.
Okay.
All right.
I won't say no.
All right.
I'm sorry. But you're right.
But see, this is our people. This is the condition we in, right? This is the result of what happened to us. And if we don't love us, nobody else gonna love us. Anyway, so blacks coming up out of slavery for 11 years did just that. They organized, ran businesses, bought farmland, and even established 60 small towns. 60 towns after we got free. We established 60 towns. Then after the 1877 compromise, the northern troops were poured out the South. Black people lost those businesses, those communities, not because of the lack of business acumen, mismanagement, or laziness, but because of the acts of the state and individual terrorism, murder and confiscation of properties by whites. Southern states set up laws called black codes, which made it illegal for blacks to buy and sell commodities, testify against white people in court, or even have weapons to protect themselves against white violence. Right? So when we look at why are we still in this position, how did we get to this point? Because we have systematically kept on being attacked. And we still are, but we just don't see the attack because we're so blinded by our dysfunction. So why our children hate us? This is a good book that I recommend everybody read. And it's a quote from the book. It said, "We are at a terrible place when black children do not care about blackness. We are at a terrible place when black children seek to destroy us. Logic will follow that in destroying us, they are destroying themselves. But this phenomenon is illogical. This cruel, self-contained cycle defies order and sanity." So why are we in a position now that our children hate us? Because we made a compromise. After the civil rights movement, when desegregation happened, when white folks allowed us to go into their stores, we left off of everything black. Our children, our businesses, our communities. Master let me go in the big house now. I don't care about you niggas. So we pretty much abandoned the thoughts and mindset that we got to do what we got to do for ourselves collectively, and because now we accept it. I don't have to run the black store no more. I can go into the mainstream store. Another prophecy. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead you cause you to err, and destroy the ways of your past. So this prophecy is saying that your children oppress you, right? You go outside, go on any corner. People were scared of their youth, right? The women rule over you. What other people could this relate to? What other people with 70% of the households is ran by women? No other people but black people in America. This ain't talking about nobody else but black people in America. And your leaders will cause you to go astray. You think they leading you right, but really they leading you to falsehood. This is an example of false gods. Guides. Right? Steve Harvey. Right? Think like a man, right? Right? Think like a man. It was a popular, oh yeah, think like a man. But this is what happens when you think like a man. You start looking like a man. And acting like a man. How you gonna think like a man when you a woman? Think like a woman. think like a woman. A man should think like a man. Within both of our natures, we have emotions and logic. So you don't have to think like a man to understand men. So wake up. We must put our children's creativity to work. You know, you think he bad. He running around, throwing around different stuff, creating a basketball court out of a shopping cart. He's a genius. He's a genius. He's taking nothing and making something out of it. It ain't no court for him to play. He can't afford a real basketball court. So he gonna create one from whatever he got. That's a genius right there. The Messiah you are waiting for, you gave birth to him. You waiting for somebody to drop out the sky and the Messiah came through your legs. But you don't recognize who he is. Don't abort him. They gotta stay alive so we can live on. Stop aborting the babies. Where do you think the Savior gonna come from? He ain't falling out the sky, man. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go there without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will protest until one is made for his use. His education demands it. And this is how they extended the plantation. So when you thought the plantation ended, it just got extended. So what is culture? And why must we recreate culture? I define culture as food, dress, language, religion, or your state of mind, music, and entertainment. And this is the first level of culture that must be established and recreated. Now, once this first level of culture is established, then the second level of culture is established. And that represents architecture, psychology or collective norms, folklore, stories and tales and traditions, art, and the educational paradigm. These two levels of culture make civilization. You can tell about the people by looking at their culture. They'll be judged by how civilized they are by their culture. Right? Come in the hood. When you see young black men walking around with their ass showing, that's dressed. That's a sign of culture. It tells you something about their civilization. So these aspects of culture is the deciding factor of what your civilization is and what it isn't. So civilization can be defined as the product of a people's culture. Examples of this is when we're talking about architecture. This is a picture of Slave Row back in the 1800s. Slave Row was a singularly unattractive place consisting of single or double row cabins. Look at the modern day hood. Because it's no longer a neighborhood, a place characterized by neighbors building collectively for the greater good of the community. It's just the hood now. It ain't the neighborhood no more, it's just the hood. Because we not neighborly with each other no more. I can remember when I still was growing up that you could still go next door with a note. Oh, we need to borrow some bread or some sugar, blah blah blah. That still happened then. It don't really happen that same way no more. People is not neighborly anymore. Pretty much people just rob and steal for what they don't got, or they just go without. So one of the things that Booker T said, commenting on Slave Row, our new home was in the midst of a cluster of cabins crowded closely together, and as there were no sanitary regulations, the filth about the cabins was often intolerable. Some of our neighbors were colored people, and some were the poorest of the most ignorant and degraded white people. It was a motley mixture: drinking, gambling, quarrels, fights, and shockingly immoral practices. So, just like it was then, it's the same thing like it was now. So, the plantation ended. Then, but the mentality has still existed and still has carried on. That's why the borders have been expanded. So what will you do? Be a part of history. Donate today. Help in any way you can. Contact us, spread the word. If you have an organization yourself, we can collaborate. Whatever we need to do, but unity pretty much is the solution from here on out. No more excuses. The solution is to collectively come together and build and do what we need to do for our people. We know the problems. We know the causes. We know what's wrong with us. Nobody don't know us like we know us. We know what's wrong with us. And we know what we need to do. But it's my contact information right here. That's my website, my email, and my phone number. So if you want to contact me, like I said, the Academy of Self-Development be starting out as a Saturday class only for kids, black boys from 12 years old and up. We starting out on Saturdays until we fundraise and get enough funds together to get a building. And then we're going to expand into an after-school academy and a summer program. So thank you for listening. Like I said, my name is Brother Kareem. My contact information is there, and I guess we can hold a small question and answer real quick.
What type of, like, I don't want to say curriculum, but like what do you be teaching the young the youth?
Excuse me. Can I ask you to hold that? I'm gonna make a circle and let them talk to everybody directly.
Gotcha.
But before, I want Steph. Come here, Steph. Let's get our segment.
My name is Brother Kev. Basically, what I was asking, I know you said it's going to be a certain age group that you want to start out with. You said around 12 or 13. What I wanted to know is, I don't want to say curriculum, but what type of things will you be,
are you familiar with Dr. Amos Wilson?
No, I'm not.
He's pretty much like, in my opinion, the premier black psychologist, sociologist. He got numerous books. He's deceased now, but his pretty much his ideology or his work of knowledge is the foundation for our curriculum or our thought process. We also teach. Pretty much like I said, we are focused on economics,
right?
But also with the economics, we know that the mind state got to be right because a fool and his money will soon perish. So we're going to be taking from all different scholars, pretty much information that's relevant for us to get out of this condition, wherever it comes from. We just taking the information and using it. Anybody else just want to make a comment or say something? I know you said you was intelligent, brother.
It's a part. If you don't study it, you'll repeat it. So thank God that you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, that's what's up. Anybody else, real quick?
Olive, what was that question again?
Oh, no, that's fine.
All right, well.
How you doing, brother? I'm Professor Carl Tone Jones. I did a presentation a few weeks ago. What about us? And he said, what about us?
Right.
It's like, man, it's like sitting here feeling like, okay, it's like-minded brothers once again.
Right.
And then I saw we had some of the same slides and talking about some of the same issues.
Right.
So it just made me feel good that, we have a lot of brothers that's reinforcing this message now. Not only just sit there and say that we're going to share knowledge and information, but talking about actual building.
Okay.
So because I do understand, and I am familiar with Dr. Amos Wilson.
Okay.
And I love listening to the man talk.
Right.
Because when he talks, no matter what I'm doing, I have to stop and listen. He's available on YouTube, so if you get a chance, listen to the brother talk. And the one good thing about technology nowadays is everything's within our grasp. But one of the key points that you touched on was talking about all of the different issues that we had to as a people deal with. I don't think a lot of people understand that. And especially I don't think as a people we understand the fact that ever since we got off the boat here. First of all, us getting on the boat in the condition of the slave jails in Africa, for one, to condition us, but then to bring our ancestors here to this country, and then not only bring us here, but set up slave codes so that blacks couldn't own property and things of that nature. And then once we finally earned our freedom through after the Civil War, for those colonies, for those towns to be set up, and for that economic power that we were building to be destroyed. I don't think a lot of people have knowledge of that, have an understanding of that. I have a movie that I'm watching now called Banished. Yeah, brother, and it's talking about the same towns, those same towns that you're talking about that was destroyed, from white aggression due to, it was similar to the Rosewood stories, the Tulsa stories. Yeah, so it's like whenever we did have an opportunity to do things through the Constitution, to do things through the legal system to try to raise, our ancestors even showed that even through dealing with the system of white supremacy that we still had the ability to come through. And even when we did, back then, they came, you had the roaches coming out of the woodwork, the rats coming from behind you and destroying the things that our ancestors were able to build. So
you can take for example recently, right? The Trayvon Martin situation, right? Okay, he got murdered, right? His killer got off, right? Black people was mad. People was rallying all around the country. Oh, go march, blah, 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 blah. They tell you, okay, the solution is we need to change the law. We need to change the stand your ground law. Even though George Zimmerman didn't use the stand your ground law to get off, he got off on self-defense, right? So what does that law have to do with him getting murdered? And then the leaders that just had that 50th anniversary march, that was on their agenda. We got to get this law changed. This is what we got to do. So if the law got changed, how would that change that he got murdered and his killer got off? Which is like a smoke screen.
But that's another facet, another layer that we have to deal with, and that's that black roulette that's been set up to stand up. That's the safeguard. They're the ones that are protectors of the urn, and inside that urn is the system of white supremacy. So we're gonna have to even go through some of our own to get to where we need to go to. Right?
If I go to the Northeast and kill somebody,
You definitely going to jail. Where you going?
Death row, okay.
You won't have to wait 44 minutes, not long.
That's right.
Well, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
We have a black mayor in the city. And I come to Center City, out there by airport. None of our young black men or women working on them construction sites. It's all white people from South Jersey. Right. And it look like these young black men will get together and have picket signs in front of them because we will not do nothing. I went to the NWCP about it, Jerry Madison. He don't do nothing. Only thing he get with them white folks is turn tricks with them. And go in one room and cut a deal with them. And this is what our people today is doing. Nobody's doing nothing about that down city. You got all them blacks in power down there. You got Wilson Good on city council. What they have done, and
pretty much that's why we talking about now solutions, like what the brother is doing.
And another thing, you have all these black politicians down here. They have done nothing in this city but sat down there. I don't even think they live in this area. They got a house in property in. They're probably living out somewhere in the suburbs.
And that's what we saying, that we can't rely on none of that no more. We just pretty much got to do what we got to do for ourselves. We can't even worry about what they gonna do, what they ain't doing. The people that want to do, we just got to collectively come together and do, and just let it be done. And everybody that want to come along, just got to come along and join.
We have done nothing.
And then that eliminate us even having to worry about what they gonna do and what they ain't gonna do.
Exactly.
Because we just gonna do what we gotta do for ourselves.
Yeah, key thing that the brother said during his presentation was, what side of history you want to be on. We see through the news that they're shutting down public schools. It's going to be a reality. The kids ain't going to be able to get into school at a point in time. So what are we going to do to provide the kids with a proper education so they can be productive? You know what I'm saying? The institute that he's trying to build is going to educate the kid not only to be productive, but to bring the knowledge back into the community. Because a lot of us, when we get educated, we go out. You know, the brother presentation showed how, you know, post-integration, we decided to be in the white man's reality. We wanted to be in the white man's reality. What we need to do is educate our kids and then bring the knowledge back into the community so we can build a conducive community so we can have, you know, things for ourselves. So, all right.
Same conversation we haven't known they had 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Never, I have a dream never came to true.
Well, it came true, brother. This dream of integration, this is what you get. This is the result.
It did, in a way.
All right, thank y'all for coming out. Thanks.
Hail to the King and Lords of Love. May He protect us from the evil. Hail to the King, Lords of Love. May He protect us from evil. Right off the Barnary sub-stop, Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too, but it's more than a bookstore. You want it, we got it. Mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build. The energy is positive. Every member of the team is awake and conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us, but we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding the bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel.
The Qualls marketing firm.
Go ahead. Qualls marketing firm?
Yeah.
Trayvon Martin, this for you, homie. Huh?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I feel like Trayvon Martin. The Zimmermans is watching me. I'm trying to get home, but why this cracker starting to follow me? Who would've knew that he had intentions on rocking me? Just pray for my parents, I know they gon' always cry for me. He shattered my dreams, man, they was going through the roof. Is it cause I was black that all he thought about was shoot? He thought I was strapped, the judges couldn't show the proof. I just had on the hoodie, a pack of Skittles and the juice. He calling the cops, telling them that I look suspicious. They tell him don't follow me, but his trigger finger itching. Yeah, he fishing for a body. License to carry, he wanna harm me. I'm 17 and only a kid. I'm thinking, why me? Thinking about Sabrina and Tracy, they gon' miss me. George ain't playing at all, and he out to get me. Now my family cries a ton of tears. If it was me that killed him, I'd have 100 years. Damn. Yeah. I feel like
it's time for having a lecture at Black and Nobel. Sorry, Mick. Okay. My name's Carl Tone Jones. Carl Tone Jones. Corey Allen. All right, nice meeting you too.
Deaths and more injustice. It's a horrible situation.
There's an update in the Trayvon Martin story. You know, if you guys don't remember, he's a 17-year-old African-American kid who was walking home from a convenience store. He had bought candy and iced tea, and then a neighborhood watch male ended up shooting him for no apparent reason. But they have actually released the audio tapes of the 911 calls from that day, and now his parents are calling for a federal investigation because they don't trust the Florida Police Department that was originally handling the case. And we actually have some of the audio for you guys to listen to.
The implication that it has, all that it's had over the nation, and basically we want to talk about, first of all, we want to talk about the implication of the trial.
Wolf, and what we're learning is that on the city's website today, the police chief answered questions put to him by the city manager, questions that the city manager said were being commonly asked by the people. Amongst them, why wasn't George Zimmerman arrested? And the police chief responded that under Florida law, the officers were prevented from arresting Zimmerman because he claimed self-defense. Well, on what grounds did Zimmerman claim self-defense? Well, we're learning in this letter, in this report, this question and answer, the police chief wrote that, quote, Zimmerman's statement was that he lost sight of Trayvon and was returning to his truck to meet the police officer when he says he was attacked by Trayvon. Of course, that was after he placed the phone call to 911 that there was this young man in the neighborhood and that he was following Trayvon.
We've had some break-ins in my neighborhood, and there's a real suspicious guy. It's Retreat View Circle. The best address I can give you is 111 Retreat View Circle. This guy looks like he's up to no good, or he's on drugs or something. It's raining, and he's just walking around looking about. Okay, and this guy, is he white, black, or Hispanic? He looks black. Did you see what he was wearing? Yeah, a dark hoodie, like a gray hoodie, and either jeans or sweatpants and white tennis shoes. He's here now, he was just staring. Oh, he's just walking around the area? All the houses. Okay. And now he's just staring at me. Okay, and so it's 1111 Retreat View or 111? That's the clubhouse. That's the clubhouse. Do you know what he's near the clubhouse right now? Yeah, now he's coming towards me. Okay. He's got his hand in his waistband. Yeah, he's a black male. Okay. How old would you say he is? He's got a button on his shirt. Late teens. Late teens, okay. Something's wrong with him. Yeah. He's coming to check me out. He's got something in his hands. I don't know what his deal is. Okay, just let me know if he does anything, okay? Over here. Yeah, we got him on the way. Just let me know if this guy does anything else. Okay. These assholes, they always get away. These assholes, they always get away. These assholes, they always get away.
And then we're also going to talk about the implications. Because this really wasn't just a case about George Zimmerman versus Trayvon Martin. What we saw is basically the character assassination of young black men across the country. We saw the reintroduction of Jim Crow. And we also saw that the national profile of our youth as thugs, criminals, and crooks. And I wanted to address that during the lecture. Gotcha. So we'll be doing this in Black and Bell, located in Wood Navy, on the 10th of August at 7:30.
I want to talk about young men, teens, and youth. I myself was a teen father, lived on welfare for 3 years, didn't go to college until I was 21. So I understand some of the existential drama that attaches to black boys, males, and men who have been particularly subject to the arbitrary stigma and pathology that attaches to young men in American society, but leave aside the incredible valor and the vitality of their struggles to claim decent spaces in American society.
But what I'm saying is,
we have to get out of that mindset.
in the rural areas, the brothers gotta stop killing each other.
You mean rural or urban?
Urban.
All right, the urban areas. I definitely agree. We need to eliminate black flight. You know, we need to stop trying to go places for greener pastures. We need to do whatever we can to make our pastures greener.
I feel like Trayvon Martin. I feel like Trayvon Martin. A shot to the chest. I'm gasping for air. I'm screaming for help. The dispatcher can hear. I know they don't care, cause if they did, they won't half step. I'm laying on my face and I think I'm taking my last breath. He said I attacked him. I'm only a kid. I never bloodied his nose or put that bruise on his head. You can look at my body and you can tell I was scared. He had intentions on killing me, so that's what he did. But why kill me? I'm just a youngin' still in school. Body laying in life as they put the pictures on the news. Man, I swear it's a mess. The Zimmermans is lurking, who next? as my parents lay my body to rest. My family hurt. Funeral service. I'm a real good kid, but man, nobody is perfect. But looking at death, I swear nobody deserves it. I turned to my grave when the jury read out the verdict, not guilty. But how? And he killed me. What? And he alive, but he's still free. Man, I ain't never coming back. And is it cause George White and I'm black? I look at my mom, I look at my dad. Hold your heads, please don't be sad. I'm gonna be good, cause right now I'm in a better place. Shout out George Zimmerman, cause he ain't never say justice. I feel like Trayvon Martin. I feel like Trayvon Martin. Yeah, man, I feel like Trayvon Martin. Yeah, there's a Trayvon Martin in every hood.